gun violence has become an American epidemic. As of 2018, it was estimated that there are approximately 400 million civilian-owned guns in America. That means that there are more guns than there are people or cars in the US. By comparison, Americans own more guns per capita than any other country, accounting for about 40% of the world's total gun ownership. And that number is likely to increase. Since 2008, the US firearm industry's worth grew 232%, making it a $63.5 billion industry in 2020. But the reason for division over gun ownership isn't just because the US owns the most guns. It's because it also has the highest rate of mass shootings, gun-related homicides, and firearm suicides among similarly developed nations.
There have been over 400 mass shootings in the US so far this year. Because of this continuing violence, we are all interested in how we can improve our safety. Our best protection is to prevent bad people from entering the facility. We want to notify security of immediate threats, and we want to create a ring of defense at all the entry points. This presentation describes how access control, surveillance cameras, paging, and intercoms work. We'll start with access control and how it works. Access control determines who can enter the building, defines what door a person can use, defines when they can enter, and maintains a record of who goes in and out. The system includes door readers, a controller, maybe more than one, electric locks, the management software, and the credentials. When the system is installed, each person is given a credential with a unique ID number. The safety person registers all the people who use the system, and only those people who get registered can enter the building. Inside the door reader, there are a number of components. There is an antenna, an amplifier, converter, computer, and interface. The interface is going to go to the controller. Several door readers can be attached to one controller. The controller includes the central processing unit, the interface to all the readers, the solid-state memory, and the Ethernet interface to the network. The controller includes a list of all the people who are allowed to enter, and it also compares the credential that's presented to the list that it has. The door reader and the controller are mounted close to the door, and the wires connect everything together. And also, there's some wires that connect to the network. The controller is responsible for controlling the door. It locks or unlocks the electric lock. It determines if the door is opened or closed using the door sensor, and it opens the door if someone pushes the request to exit or REX button. There is another type of door access system that uses a reader with a built-in controller. Since there's only one device at the door, the installation is simpler. There are several types of door readers. Some use RFID or proximity card credentials. Others use smartphones as the credential, and others read your biometrics, such as your facial recognition or fingerprint, and that's used as a credential. The RFID or proximity card credential are placed next to the reader, and the unique identification number is transferred to the reader. Some door readers have the ability to read the ID number stored in an app on your smartphone. It's a convenient way of opening the door. An elevator can also be controlled by an access control system. By placing a reader in the elevator, you can determine what floor a person can go to. The access control management software is where you enter all your users. It establishes who, when, and where each person can enter. Next, we'll look at the IP camera and how this works. To better understand the components of an IP camera system, we'll start with the old film camera. The film camera contains a lens, the shutter, and of course the film. There's more stuff, but those are the basic components. Let's start with the lens because that's one of the basic parts of all the cameras. The lens defines the field of view and magnification you can get. The key specifications of a lens includes the focal length and the f-stop. The focal length defines the magnification or field of view. The f-stop determines how much light can pass through the lens. The lower the f-stop, the more light can get to the sensor. Here's an example of different magnifications or field of view. As the millimeter of the lens increase, the angle decreases. We get more magnification and the field of view gets smaller. Now let's look at the digital camera. The major difference between the film camera and the digital camera is the image sensor. This sensor is a solid-state semiconductor that consists of millions of pixels. Each pixel consists of 3 photodiodes, and these diodes have a red, green, and blue filter, and that's what creates the full color image. The image processor transforms the analog picture captured by the sensor into a digital stream of data. It provides color processing, amplification, and image enhancement. After the image is processed, it is sent to the compression computer. Now, this is called a code and decode module or codec. JPEG, PNG, and GIF are popular image compression formats. The central processing unit controls all the functions and processes in the camera. The finished image is stored in the solid-state memory card. Components of the IP camera are similar to the digital camera. It includes the lens, image sensor, the processor, a compression processor, central processing unit, the solid-state memory, and it adds the Ethernet interface. Video compression is different than image compression. Formats such as MPEG, H.264, and H.265 are used to reduce the bandwidth on the network. An example of video compression is to store the background and then add additional frames of something moving across the background. The IP cameras connect to the network, and they can be viewed by the security person on a Windows computer. And this is where all the video is stored. New smart cameras provide real-time notification when alarm conditions are detected. The next security devices are IP paging and intercom systems. These network-attached audio products replace the analog systems. They provide paging for large and small organizations and intercoms for door control. They can also be used from a central location to intercoms anywhere in the building. The IP paging speaker contains a network interface, computer, digital to analog converter, amplifier, and speaker. Since these systems are all controlled by computers, it's very easy to add automated paging. Emergency announcements can now be made by pushing one button. The latest apartment intercoms use wireless connections to all the tenants in the building. The visitor selects the person on the LCD panel, and the system calls the smartphone of the tenant. The tenant can see and talk to the visitor in the lobby. They can then release the door. So this is how IP security devices work. Working together, door access control, IP cameras, intercoms, and IP paging systems provide rings of defense that keep us all safe.